On this episode of mySURFtv, we head to Japan with a bunch of charging groms for Billabong's Bloodlines program. We talk art with Indigenous surfer Otis Carey, and we head to Burleigh Heads for the Billabong Single Fin Festival and much more. G'day, I'm Ronnie Blakey. Welcome to this special Billabong edition of mySURFtv. We've got surfing royalty with me on the show here today. It's a big welcome to Mark Occhilupo.
Hey Ronnie, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for joining us, mate. 99 world champ. What have you been up to lately?
Well, I've got a baby on the way in about a month, so I've been hanging with the missus a lot, training a lot, feeling really good actually lately, and been surfing when there's waves, but there hasn't been a lot on the Gold Coast lately. One
of my favourite things that you're up to at the moment is the Occast. Yeah. You've gone into the digital realm. You're interviewing some of the world's best surfers, some really interesting characters. Who are some of the most interesting people that you've spoken to?
You know, I've done Mick Fanning, that was super interesting. Bruce Irons, Tom Carroll, where do I stop? I mean, seriously, like, you know, I did Kelly Slater too, and that was sensational. He opened up a lot. I did get to do Kevin Dillon, the guy from Entourage. That,
Johnny Drama.
Yeah, Johnny Drama, and that was funny. Yeah, I've been loving it, being on the other side of the camera.
Well, make sure you check out the Occast. But, mate, let's go back in time a little bit because you have been sponsored by Billabong or working with Billabong longer than just about any other employee in the company. Tell us about how that relationship started.
It's true. I actually have been working for the company longer now than anyone that's working there. The only one I haven't been longer is the founder, Gordon Merchant. He sponsored me when I was like 15 years old. So I've been with them for 35 years now, and it's been so good.
One of the cool things about Billabong is they've always had this real clear goal to put together a really diverse and awesome team. What are some of your favourite memories travelling with the Billabong crew, and who are those individuals?
Yeah, well, it's got to be Andy, for sure. Andy Irons is on top, you know, all the surf trips that we've done, and Andy, Joel and myself, you know, some epic surf trips with Andy.
It's an amazing team, so many great people still part of it at the moment. Shane Dorian, for instance.
Yeah, it's incredible what Shane does in the big wave realm. And then we've got the free surfers, you know, we've got Jack Robinson, and he's amazing, you know, and then we've got all those free surfers, you know, Taj, and then the Brazilians, you know, Italo Ferreira. Just incredible surfer on tour now.
It is an amazing team to be part of, Ock, and we're going to check it out now in Billabong's Life's Better in Board Shorts anthem. stay with us because after the break we'll have more with Occy, and we're also going to check out Indigenous artist Otis Carey and have a look at an amazing piece by a street artist called Hula on the late great Andy Irons. Welcome back to mySURFtv. We're still here with Mark Occhilupo, and Ock, it's time to get a little bit artsy. We're going to talk about some of the incredible talent that's on Billabong's team, starting off with a young lady who's really made a name for herself, tackling the biggest waves in the world, Felicity Palmatier, also pretty handy with a paintbrush.
Yeah, she sure is. I've seen a lot of her art and I love it. Yeah, really nice. And wasn't it incredible how she took on Jaws?
Another person who's really starting to make a name for himself as an artist and a surfer is Otis Carey. I've been a huge fan of his artwork.
Same. You know, the Aboriginal artwork is incredible. You know, I've always loved that style of art.
I love his artwork because it's kind of that modern twist on that traditional Aboriginal approach.
Yep.
A lot of bright colours and some really interesting works and some pretty big shows he's done already too.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
All right, well, let's get more from him, Otis Carey, and some of his artwork.
Dad got me into surfing, Mum and Dad. Dad was always a waterman, still he is. But my people's totem on Gumbanga side, our totem is the ocean. So I guess if it was pretty inevitable that I was going to end up surfing or doing something that involves the ocean. Yeah, I kind of keep surfing and art separate, but it's always nice to see them both side by side, I guess. I guess I started painting because I wanted another outlet to express myself. And then as I sort of started to understand those expressions, it kind of became wanting to tell a story about my culture. I've only been painting for about a year and a half. So it's still pretty new. I'm still learning how to tell certain stories and stuff with the paintbrush. Like this badge on the body is represents the ocean and traveling on the ocean.
Love looking at Otis's artwork, and if you get the chance, definitely go and check out one of his shows. Now, another street artist that we're going to check out here, Ock, is a man that goes by the name of Hula, and he undertook a pretty big project in Hawaii this year, painting a mural of the late great Andy Irons. Did you get a chance to see it?
I did. I got a chance to see him painting it, actually. Yeah, I was staying at the Billabong house and he was painting it right next to the room outside there, and kept on walking out and seeing the progress, and it was so lifelike. And then they put it in the water there at Sharks Cove, and Axel saw it for the first time, which is Andy's son.
Well, let's take a closer look at Hula's amazing portrait of Andy Irons.
My name's Sean Mural. Most people know me as my artist name Hula, and I'm from Kahalu, Hawaii. I made my way into the street art world through these murals that I paint on the ocean water, basically balancing on my stand-up paddleboard and painting along the walls. And I kind of developed this concept while I was in New York and used my Hawaii background and just my love for surfing, and I grew up a surfer. So the collaboration with Billabong and doing this piece for Andy Irons, so I pitched this idea of painting Andy right in Beaver Creek, which is the tide pool that comes up and down in Ehukai Beach. So it's right in front of Pipeline. The ending goal was to have Andy as close to Pipeline as I could get, and it was gonna look like he's kind of floating on his board right there. It was just really fun. The rain kind of came down and we had to put some tents up, but being back there and painting right on the beach, right next to a pipeline was such a surreal feeling. We ended up actually having to finish the painting in Sharks Cove area because Beaver Creek actually dried up. And it's just one of those things that all my projects, you rely so heavily on variables that I can't really control, and Mother Nature has its way, so. Lindy and Axel came down and we presented it to them on the final day of the Pipe Masters. It was such an honor to have Lindy come down and just be able to present this to her. With my paintings, I always kind of finish them off with these markings, and it just kind of throws a unique twist on them, and I think every portrait is always a unique adventure. It was really special to have Axel actually do the final markings with his hand, and so he pressed it up against Andy's chest. It was such a beautiful moment to just see him kind of connect with his dad.
Well, don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're heading to Japan with Billabong's Bloodlines program. And don't forget, everything you've seen on today's show and plenty more can be viewed online 24/7 at mySURFtv. Welcome back to the show, here with Mark Occhilupo, and we're going to be talking now about Billabong's youth program. They've got the Bloodlines program running in full effect, and you're taking on a bit of a role as one of the mentors.
Yeah, I have, yeah. I went last year to Hawaii in February, and because Jay's on the team and he's in that program, and it was fantastic. Yeah, the kids, we put them out in some big waves.
When you talk about Jay, you're talking about your little boy.
Yes.
Obviously welcomed into the Billabong family a couple of years ago.
Yep.
How's he going? How do you feel like his surfing's progressing?
Yeah, it's really progressing well. He's not big, you know, he's pretty small, but he's really powerful. He's got a really good turn on him. He's only just 13, so I can only imagine what he's going to be doing when he's 15. I kind of get goosebumps. I think he's got a really good chance of qualifying when he gets in a couple of years. Yeah, so he could have a big future. There's a lot of good kids in Jay's age group. Level's high. Those kids are going to get real good.
An amazing crew of super grommets. Let's see what they got up to when the Bloodlines program hit Japan. Well, coming up after the break, we're heading to Burleigh Heads for the Billabong Single Fin Festival, and we're also going to check in with rising star Isabella Nichols. And don't forget, everything you've seen on today's show and plenty more can be viewed online 24/7 at mySURFtv. Welcome back to the show. Still lucky enough to be joined by Mark Occhilupo here. And Ock, we've been talking about the Billabong team. We've touched on the Shane Dorians, the Joel Parkinsons, the next brigade of juniors coming through on the Billabong stable, but we haven't yet mentioned one of the rising stars on the female side of things, Isabella Nichols, making big inroads and looking good to qualify at some point.
Yeah, you'd think it'd probably be this year. She's a really smart heat surfer, you know, and good style, natural footer. Yeah, look out for Isabella. She's, yeah, I think she's got a big future too.
Ocky's given her the nod. Let's learn a little bit more about this rising star.
It's a lot of different things to me, I guess. It relieves you of things that you have to think about while you're on land. You can just be out there by yourself, kind of like a getaway, I guess. I love being home. Like, I always look forward to coming home. That's like the highlight of my trip, usually. Surf-wise, we do have like a bit of a lack in swell sometimes, but I feel like that also helps because most comps are like these conditions, so like it's not necessarily a disadvantage for us. Probably one of the best jobs in the world, getting paid to surf and getting paid to compete and just hang out, go to cool places, surf good waves.
All the best to Isabella as she campaigns on the qualifying series in 2017. Right now though, we're heading to Burleigh Heads for the Billabong Single Fin Festival, and we'll be back with Occy right after this.
So a mate of mine, Clay, lives down in Cabot, got it for me. He had it, just let me borrow it for the weekend, and mate, the thing's unreal. I'm guessing it's an old AB. I could have been like an Elco era because of the checkers kind of thing, the grip, but I couldn't exactly tell you. I haven't had a chance to ask him, so I don't know a lot about it. I know it works really well, and 6 deep channels, singly. It's doing good nick.
I think it's the vibe of everyone coming down and collecting before we all go back to work, you know. It's the end of the holidays and no one takes it too serious. It's more about going to the pub with your mates and trying to get through a heat without dying.
My board's a 6 something, hot stuff, single fin with a couple channels, and she goes pretty good. This is the 2nd year I've ridden it, and last year went pretty good, and went pretty good this morning.
You stand outside and I'll let you It's all for fun, and basically we're here to remember all the old crew. It's like still a memorial for all the old members that have passed away, and yeah, basically a reunion, memorial, bit of fun, and it's really good for the club. That headland there's got a lot of history, you know, Aboriginal history, goes right back in the dream time, all the stories and everything. So yeah, it's a very spiritual place for us, you know, because we've lived here for so long.
Amazing single fin surfing there from Joel Parkinson. The guy could ride those single fins on the championship tour and probably win a world title. But Ock, mate, that's all we got time for.
Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. And for everyone else, don't forget everything that you have seen and plenty more can be viewed online 24/7 at mySURF.tv. I'm Ronnie Blakey. We'll see you next time. mySURFtv is powered by Surfing Australia and Nudie.